So in my last video, I mentioned that we use Sterling lighting and we love Sterling lighting, and I put it on my own home. So I just wanted to show you that I have these fixtures in my yard. I have them on my trees. I have them on my house. So we're gonna just do a quick walk around. We're gonna kind of explain why we use what fixtures and where we use them, how we use them, and what they do. So I'll try to make this quick, but it's gonna take a couple minutes because there's a lot of design aspects. And I'd love for you to understand kind of where we're coming from a design purpose and a design perspective, because it's intentional. We don't just throw a light in the ground and say, hey, that's going to go shine some light on a tree. We're intentional about it. We want to see how it affects and lights up the canopy, what the vantage point is. So one of my favorite things is, if you look at that small little window right there, that's my kitchen window where the sink is. That's where I stand to wash dishes and my wife stands to wash dishes. So when I was designing the outdoor lighting, I wasn't just designing it from the perspective of sitting on the back porch or standing in the driveway or walking around the backyard. I sat inside and I looked at the lighting from inside out. And I said, when I'm sitting on the couch at night, whether we're watching a movie or reading a book, playing with the kids, or we're standing and doing the dishes, or we're sitting at the kitchen table having dinner, what am I seeing from the outside perspective? And that's where lighting is amazing. You don't even know it's happening and you don't even see it until it's done, and you sit down to dinner that first night and you look out your window and you say, oh my gosh, these guys really knew what they were doing. And it's a hard experience to share until you've had it. And honestly, when I started lighting, I didn't own a home. I was renting an apartment. And I didn't understand the effect of the inside out perspective until I bought my first home and I did my lighting in my yard. And I sat down to dinner with my family and I looked outside and I said, oh my gosh, how amazing is that? Look how beautiful that is. Look at the effect that it gets. But then I also was able to become a better designer, because sitting at that dinner table, I noticed dark spots. From when I was sitting outside, I was like, oh, I'm on the back porch and I need to light this tree this way for this best vantage point. But then sitting on the couch at night, I was like, wow, that tree is actually really dark. Or sitting at the dinner table, I was like, huh, there's a dark spot in that canopy. And so by having that experience, it made me a better designer, and it changed my perspective totally. So now I don't just design when I'm walking the yard with you. I like to come inside and sit at your kitchen table and see, what are you going to see at night? Take a peek in the living room. If you're sitting in your favorite reading nook, reading a book, I want to see what your vantage point is and what you see when you look out that window, so that at night I can extend your backyard into your living room, and that you can look out and just see a beautiful, tranquil, peaceful backyard. Maybe you can see some birds at night that you've never seen before. Maybe you can see the deer walking through your yard. That's pretty cool. So anyway, that's a little bit more about the design side. Now let's go look at some of these fixtures, right? So we have some big trees here, and you can see we have fixtures at the base of each tree. And when I'm standing out here, I'm literally standing below the tree, and I'm looking up, and I'm walking forward, I'm walking backwards, I'm walking left, I'm walking right, trying to figure out the optimal position of this light. And I've gotten pretty good at it over the years. But then what we'll do is, after we're done with the installation, we'll come back at night and we'll do a touch up. And we might have to reposition a light or two. And we'll check and sit at the kitchen table with you. And we'll sit on the couch with you. And we'll look and we'll see and say, oh my gosh, we need to add another light over there. Or, wow, look how beautiful that Japanese maple looks. I didn't even realize how awesome that was going to look from inside. So as you're reviewing your quote from us, and probably from other contractors too, let's just be candid. There's a good chance you're getting this bid out. You might notice that we might put 2 lights on a tree where the other guy only puts 1. And there are other times where we might actually put 3 lights on a tree where the other guy only puts 1. And at first you can be like, oh, I want to go with the other guy because he's so much cheaper. But then you gotta ask yourself, well, why did Luke and Anthony put 3 lights on a tree and this other guy says it only needs 1? And that all has to do with depth and perspective and shadows. When we're lighting a tree at night, especially a giant mature tree, it's really hard to get just the beauty and the design with a single light. Now, don't get me wrong, if you put 1 light on a tree, it's going to look great because you're going from darkness to light, and anything's going to look better than a dark tree. But one of the fun experiments we do with some of our clients is we'll put 3 lights on a tree, and we'll only turn 1 light on, and they'll say, oh my gosh, it looks great. We don't need a second light. Then I'll add the second light, and they'll say, huh, wow, that really does make a difference. And then I'll turn the 3rd light on, and they'll say, yeah, you don't really need that 3rd light. Then I turn that 3rd light off, and they see the difference. And they go, oh my gosh, You're right. I had no idea we need that third light. So it's just a fun way to help teach about the depths of lighting, right? Because imagine just taking a giant floodlight or a giant flashlight and shining it up into a tree. You're going to see the tree at night. But we can use multiple fixtures to light a tree so that it has a very subtle glow to it. And it's not a giant floodlight, because we're not going after a floodlight look. We're going after a design aesthetic. We want to paint your yard with light. When you look out the window at night, we just want a nice subtle glow. We don't want it to look like Hollywood. We don't want it to look like the Las Vegas Boulevard. We don't want it to look like Times Square. We just want some nice subtle lighting all around the property. And so we use different fixtures. Sometimes we use a big fixture. Sometimes we use a smaller fixture. Sometimes we use fixtures up in the trees pointing down. Sometimes we use little tiny fixtures that go on a fence or on a deck or on a railing to add some lighting. Sometimes we'll use a pathway light, right? So as you know from my last video, these are Candid, nothing's edited. So I'm going to show you one of our pathway lights that's kind of by the side door. It's got a big old bag of salt from the winter that I never picked up, and so you're going to see it. And there's my mess of lighting, because this is my own home and I do a lot of experimenting and moving stuff around. So when we do your house, all that will be in Conduit. But at my house, I move stuff around so much and I test so much, I didn't take the time to do it the right way. Totally candid, but we will do it the right way for you, I promise. So this is a pathway light. And these are very utilitarian. Now, a lot of companies that don't focus on design, they're going to put the pathway lights kind of up and down your driveway so it looks like a runway, or they're going to put all the way around the circle of the driveway. And it's not really what it's meant for, and it's not what it's designed for. Pathway lights are not meant to be in grass. They're meant to be in mulch or a stone bed or some kind of retaining area. They're not meant to go in grass because they get hit by the mowers, they get hit by the weed whackers. And honestly, over time, they're just not super pretty. So we find other ways, better ways to light those areas, and we save the pathway lights for the utilitarian stuff. So I'll show you as you walk up to my front door. There's a little hill here, so you might hear me out of breath. I'm working on it though. So as you walk up to the front door, you'll see we have this little walkway, and we just have a couple lights here along the walkway. And again, they're very utilitarian. So they light up the pathway for safety. And that's what their purpose is, right? They want to welcome people to your home, get them to your front door safely. They're not meant to light up bushes. They're not meant to light up trees. They're not meant to light up grass areas. They're meant for safety. So we use them very sparingly, and you'll see that in our designs. Where other contractors will use a dozen pathway lights because they don't know better, and it's not their fault. They've never been trained. Maybe they haven't invested in the training like we have, or they haven't worked with the designers that we've worked with. So I've been taught by and I've learned from literally award-winning lighting designers. So the first guy that tutored me when I started this business, his name is Matt out of Ohio. He has won multiple design awards for unbelievable, beautiful designs. And these are nationwide awards, not just in Ohio. He's won them across the country. So he was the first guy that tutored me and taught me about design. Then we start going to conferences and we learn from people who are internationally famous for lighting design. So the last 2 years, we've been going to a conference where the woman who designed all the lighting for the Acropolis in Greece, she's been a guest speaker twice. So we've had the chance to talk with her, learn from her. She's given PowerPoints and presentations on how she does her lighting and how she goes for a minimalist design. Last year I was a mentor and a coach for that conference on lighting design, and she was able to come over and talk through some of our lighting design ideas and share with me some feedback on what she would do or how she would do it, what she liked about my design and how I could improve it. So just the fact that we're able to get experience and resources and feedback like that is amazing. Not a lot of other contractors have that. So Again, just sharing with you how we got to where we are, why we do what we do, and why we love what we do. So again, we didn't go over all the fixtures in this yard, just a couple touch points on the different fixtures that we've used and why we use them. But again, I'm Luke Jensen, the owner of 1225 Lighting. Anthony and I are here to help you. We love lighting. And again, we're not sales guys. We're guys who love lighting, and we do a great job, and we hope we can help you too. All right, thanks again. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm here to help.